What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your Love and Hip Hop Season 9 Episode 4 review. And I didn't think they were going to do an episode Christmas Eve or the day before, whatever it was. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one, and then I'll get caught up and drop the other one. So this is what we're dealing with in this episode. This particular episode, I feel like it was sort of giving you, they gave us a little bit more information about Mano, the rapper Mano, and his girlfriend and the whole PTSD situation. So the episode opens up, they're having like a game night, which looks like fun. They look like they're having a real fun game night. We used to have game nights. I might have to set a game night up. But we used to have a really good time, and it looked like they were having a fun game night. And so we meet his family, and we meet the girlfriend Maggie, who got shot at the concert a couple of years back, and she's dealing with PTSD. She's dealing with that whole trauma. She's sort of become an introvert, doesn't really want to go out, doesn't want to be in big crowds and small spaces and stuff like that, which is 100% understandable, right? And of course, Mano knows Yandy, and they worked together back in the day, and so now they're cool. So we see that, where that connection is. Joe Budden and Sin come in later on, and so you see that connection. And they just kind of talk or whatever. Yandy says she wants to do a girls' day at the beach, sort of just get past all the bullshit and the drama, that she don't even want to deal with that whole mess with Jonathan. And she said her and Juju worked past everything. Everything is everything. And then she says, well, Sin says in her confessional, well, she don't even know what went down at the brunch, but it ain't my place to tell her, and it's cool. And I feel like that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no need to tell her what went down at the brunch. It is what it is. So fast forward. Next we got the whole Safari and Jacquay, and that his name. I don't get them mixed up, but I get the names mixed up with this Jacquay dude boy who want to be king of R&B. Anyway, so he's Jacquay, and that's Jacquay's whatever. Y'all know who the fuck I'm talking about. So Safari has a little cookout barbecue. It's summertime. He said he just wants some summertime vibe. He want to have a good time. Blah blah blah. Jacquay on the mean side, on the other side, him and Cheyenne broke up during the off season of the loving of the hip hop. But Jacquay has been shooting his shot on Instagram. He trying to get back. Safari was like, hey, I understand. I ain't mad at you. Sometimes you gotta break up to realize what you got in somebody, realize how much it really means to you. Boom, boom, boom. So he said, well, I'm glad they cool because I invited Cheyenne to the cookout. So here comes Cheyenne. Cheyenne ain't really here for it. You know what I mean? She was like, look, you block me on social media, but then you shooting your shot, like you putting stuff out there on the internet, but you got me blocked. Like, what's up? Like, what's really going on? And he was like, look, I want to get back with you. I'm just shooting my shot. What's up? What's wrong with that? And she was like, because, like, you not going to publicly disrespect me and then probably apologize, which I know I done had that conversation. Y'all know how I feel about that. You apologize the same way you disrespected me. Come to find out, they slept, that she caught him in bed with another woman on her birthday. That's dirty. I don't know if I could come back from that one either, Cheyenne. I'm with you on that one. Cheyenne, whatever the child name is. So, come to find out, she's like, you all smiling up here in Safari face, but you be talking mad trash behind his back. And you need to go ahead and tell him what you've been saying about him. What you've been talking about Safari. What you've been saying about him. Safari was like, what we talking about? Come to find out, Cheyenne says that Jacquay talking about something she wrote, that song they did on last season about for the hurricane relief. Talking about she wrote she said that Jacquay was saying he wrote the whole thing, and that Safari can't write, and that was his, that was Safari's best song, and it came from him. And I don't even know why we arguing about it, because ain't nobody ever heard that song after the episode. Have y'all heard it? I ain't heard it. I ain't seen it on iTunes, downloads. I ain't heard nothing. So who gives a fuck? Who cares who wrote it? Nobody's listening to it. Doesn't matter. It probably went paper. But, so, Safari is like, what's she talking about? Like, I don't even see what the problem is. What we doing here? Well, later on, like the next day, you know how these episodes, so somewhere another day, Cheyenne meets up with Safari and lets Safari know, look, Jacquay be talking mad shit about you behind your back. He done said this, he done said that, and he didn't even claim that he think that the robbery was just an insurance scheme and that you ain't even really get robbed, that it was just all a plot. Well, that's a serious allegation. Like, that's fraud. That's some, you go to jail for that shit, especially for the amount of money that those, that if the jewelry was gold, I mean, if the jewelry was real, the amount of money that jewelry would be worth, that could be a serious accusation. And so, Safari is like, yo, I thought Jacquay was my boy. Like, why would he be, like that? Like, that was some real money. That was a real robbery. Like, those dudes are in jail. Like, this is not a joke, and that's a serious allegation. So, um, sorry, I lost my train of thought. So that's what's going on with that, right? Now, on the flip side, we have, oh shoot. On the flip side, on another side, we have Mano is really trying to help his girlfriend process through her PTSD or what have you. And he wrote a song. He's a really big boxing fan. And Garcia, who's a big boxer, is having a boxing match. And, he wrote a song about you fall down, but you get up, keep pushing. I think it's called Keep pushing no matter what type thing. So he wants to talk his girlfriend into coming to the boxing match. So he tells her, he's like, look, we got great seats. We're going to be ringside. It's going to be, fun. It's going to be a good night. It'll be security. You ain't got to worry about nothing. It's not going to be you don't have to, you're not in danger. I really want you to come. And she's like, I just don't know. I don't know if I can do it. Like, I want to do it, but, and she starts talking to her brother who's in a wheelchair. And they explained earlier what happened with him. I can't remember, but anyway. And she's saying that in her mind, he's saying you're looking at the glass half empty instead of half full, because he's saying, look, y'all got great seats. You're going to be protected. It's security there. You're going to be good. In her mind, she's thinking ringside seats. That means that the closer I am to the ring, the further I am away from an exit, which, for somebody who's dealt with trauma and been in a situation like that, that's what you do. You walk in a room, you look for the exits. You walk somewhere, you look for how can I get out of here, and you stay close. You make sure you always have an exit plan. I've seen people who've been through that type of trauma go through that. Like, I've had experiences, I think I said before on another video, that I've had somebody shot standing next to me, but it didn't affect me on that level that, my mind goes there, But for her, she was shot. She still has the bullet in her leg. So for her, it really was a serious thing. But she says, after she talks to her brother, she said, what, I'm going to go. I really need to, because he told her, he said, you too young. You too young to become a recluse. You too young to be scared to go anywhere and do anything. And I really want to see you, move past this. And so she was like, I will. Now, the one thing they didn't mention through this whole thing, and if they did, I missed it, she should be in some professional therapy. It's all great that her friends want to see her do well, and her boyfriend wants to see her move past it. Like, all that is great. But the level that it seems like she's processing this, she really need to be getting some professional help. And if she is, that's great. I just don't remember hearing it. And they may have said it, and it just went bloop. Okay. Yandy's there at the beach, right? Yandy's there. Juju's there. Maggie comes. And she was even nervous about going to the beach. And because there's a lot of people at the beach, and in my mind, I'm thinking, that's just wide open. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's a level of trauma to be scared to go somewhere like the beach, So anyway, but they're at the beach, and old girl shows up. Jonathan's friend. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Oh, I can't think of that girl's name. Jonathan's friend. Ooh. Anyway, y'all know who I'm talking about. The one who was messing with Rich Dollars last season. Anyway, she shows up, and her and Juju, she apologizes to Juju for the way she approached her at the party. And the one thing I love about Juju is Juju does not hold her tongue. She says exactly what she's thinking, and she said, she said, I accept your apology, and I appreciate your apology. She said, but I just want to let you know, I really felt attacked. I really felt like, that came out of nowhere. I didn't know where it came from, and I didn't understand it. Excuse me. She was like, for Jonathan to say what he said and say it to other people, it just really bothers me. She said, but I can't do the drama. And so she goes on to tell Juju, she said, oh, well, then you should have heard what she said, because Jonathan came at me. He's not taking any responsibility for any of this. He's making it out to be everybody's fault except for his. And he came at me when we went to brunch and he, me and him got into it, and Juju was just like, look, I just can't do this. She just not with the shit. You know what I mean? But her and old girl seemed to work that out. She said they were never really friends. They just not at a point where they ready to fight, or argue, because I don't think Juju was trying to fight nobody, but argue. But Juju was like, look, I'm gonna go talk to Jonathan. So before we get to her talking to Jonathan, let's just finish up this whole Safari Jacquay situation. So Jacquay has been modeling for Sean John. So he has like a little event, and where he's got a line with Sean John and all that stuff now. Safari shows up, and of course Safari in his feelings. And he tells him, like, look, I met up with Cheyenne, and Cheyenne told me you said A, B, and C, and that really making me feel some kind of way because, that was a real situation. It was a real experience. I thought you was my boy. Like, how could you talk about me like that? But, boom, boom, boom. Jacquay was like, I'm not even going to dignify this conversation with a response, and walks off. See, I see both sides of that coin. I see from the point of view that you feel like this is some bullshit and I'm not even going to entertain it. But if that is your friend, you owe him that. You owe him that to say, look, I didn't say that. She mad, she bitter. But by you walking away, to me, it makes, if I were in Safari's shoes, I'd be thinking, oh, well, this shit must be true. He won't even tell me I didn't say that, bruh. I wouldn't say that about you. So the fact that you just didn't even acknowledge it at all and walked off. And then second of all, and this is where my personality comes into play. Don't disregard my feelings. I'm coming to you. I'm telling you what's going on. I'm telling you how I feel. At the very least, if we are friends, at the very least, you owe me enough to say, I didn't say that. We boys. That's just some old hating shit. I know you was really robbed, bruh. Like, that you owe me. I feel. In a friendship. I feel you owe me that. But neither here nor there. So, fast forward. Juju and Jonathan. Jonathan's a bitch. He is a whiny ass bitch. And I'm sick of him. I'm sick of Jonathan. I'm sick of... So him and Juju go to lunch, dinner, whatever. Looks like it's dark outside, so I guess it's dinner. Juju tells Jonathan how she felt. She said she felt attacked. Same conversation she had with old girl. I keep wanting to call her Jocelyn, and I know she's not Jocelyn, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Jonathan was like, oh, so you're saying you feel attacked? Well, I'm offended that you would think that I would do that because you know that, to say that you would attack somebody, that means that we planned it. We didn't plan anything. Juju was like, she said, well, that's just, for you to be telling people that I'm fake and phony. So Jonathan was like, I apologize for talking about you with our mutual friends. I should have come to you. And that was wrong on my part for putting them in the middle of it. But then he starts talking about the radio show again. Now, here's where the shit gets real interesting for me. He went from a radio show to a podcast. See, those are two very totally separate things. Anybody can do a fucking podcast. I got a podcast. And I do it in my living room with my friends. Now, there are some podcasts that are very successful where people are making a whole lot of money. And there's some podcasts like me that, I ain't making no whole lot of money. But anybody can do a podcast. So, if you're accusing Juju of taking your idea of a podcast and going and having a meeting with somebody about it, motherfucker, you can do the podcast. You didn't need Juju or anybody else to do a podcast. Now, I understand getting backing, being on a network. Like, I understand that part of it. But you were talking about a radio show. That's a totally different thing. A radio show that's a separate situation. You know what I mean? And Juju was like, let's not make this about, she said, I took a meeting. Let's not minimize this about that meeting. This is about what you said. He said, no. Now, this part I did agree with him on. He said, no, for you, it's about what I said. For me, I said what I said because I was hurt about you taking the meeting. So I understood where he was coming from. But then he gets to talking and he was like, you can just side-eye if you want to. It's okay. You don't have to worry about my feelings. Juju was like, I wasn't side-eyeing you. I was just listening and processing. I know what a side-eye is, Juju. Come on. Stop. You know me. I know what side. Juju was like, are you serious right now? Like, that's where the whole thing with Jonathan to me went left. y'all were having a decent conversation. Why the fuck does it matter? Like, say your piece. She was listening. She was receiving what you were saying. Anyway, it goes downhill from there. They get to going back and forth. Jonathan started doing what Jonathan does. He starts getting loud and cursing. Juju was like, don't curse at me because I didn't curse at you. She was like, now you might deal with old girl that way and y'all had that kind of relationship. She said, but you know me and you don't have that kind of relationship. So don't curse at me. Don't get loud. He was like, but you won't let me talk. You won't let me talk. You won't let me talk. She was like, no, because right now you being loud and you being disrespectful. He was like, well, I'm just going to keep talking. And if you're not going to let me talk, I'm just going to keep talking. Juju said, God bless you. Got up and walked away. See, Juju's not here for the shit. She was willing to sit down and have that conversation with you. But when Jonathan started going into his histrionics and started going, Juju was like, all right, and this is where I exit stage left and I'm done. I see Jonathan's point, but his delivery is some shit. And Juju has explained to him that all she took was a meeting and that she didn't do it behind his back. She was like, you weren't in town. When the man called, I had to go when they called and you weren't here. But it never sounds like she was planning to totally exclude Jonathan from the situation. She was just trying to secure the deal. Anyway. Last but not least, Mano and Maggie are on their way to the boxing match, and he decides that at the last minute maybe she ain't ready for the boxing match, but he feels in his infinite wisdom of whatever therapy school, whatever degrees, whatever, I don't know who told him this was a good idea, because this could have went left or right, but it seemed, it was cameras there, so it went the way it was supposed to go. He decides that instead of going to the Barclays where the boxing match is, he's going to take her back to the venue where she got shot. Hadn't been back since she got shot. It's empty, He said, but I really think you need to go in. And he told her, he said, if you don't want to, you don't have to. But I really want you to get past this. And I feel like the only way you're going to get past is to go through it. See, again, his intention was in the right place. I believe that. I 100% believe that his intention was in the right place. The flip side, though, is you ain't nobody's therapist. You are in no position to tell this woman how she needs to process and work through her trauma. Now, again, is she in therapy? And is this something that her therapist suggested that she's been putting off? Now, anyway, I'm not going to stay on my soapbox about that. I'm just saying that was a nope. But they ended up going in. She ended up processing. She ended up, talking about how she felt, and they go, reliving that moment. She cried and everything, but she, at the end of the day, said, thank you. I appreciate you doing this for me. I appreciate you bringing me back here, because you're right. This is what I needed. So it all worked out, but I personally just was looking. I was giving the side eye, because I personally was like, this ain't, that's not that. That's not right. But it worked out. So anyway, that's what happened. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.